welcome back. All right, so we have another referral partner. We have Jen, and let me tell you, if you can't tell by her studio behind her, she is one of the most amazing artists that I have ever seen. I literally like hunted this woman down. I came across her stuff and I was like, oh, damn, I love your artwork. And she's like, by the way, I also do this cool thing. And I was like, holy shit, we need to have a conversation. So, Jen, thank you so much for being here today. I am so grateful to have you here.
I am so grateful for you having me. We had such a blast talking when we spoke. I don't know what it was a few weeks ago, months ago, a couple months ago,
Months
whatever it
ago.
was.
Yep.
What is time anymore? But we had such a great time and connection. And I'm super excited to be here with you. And we have very similar philosophies, even though we do very, very different things.
This is so true. This is so true. But this is another reason why we work so well together as a collaboration. Like I absolutely love what it is that you do. And everyone just remember, stick around to the end because like all of our referral partners, Jen is going to have an amazing free gift for you. So stick around to the end to get that keyword to be able to access that gift. So Jen, you need to tell these people, besides being an amazing artist, and I do mean an amazing artist, what is the cool thing that you told me that you do that made me be like, oh my God, we have to have a conversation?
Yes. So the cool thing that I do is I create journals, workbooks, and card decks for my clients because your wisdom is so important. And by creating these things, they do so many amazing things. First of all, for me, it's part of your legacy that you have that is part of your business. It's a great support tool, whatever one you choose, or some clients choose both. It's a great support tool for your current clients that you're working with to help them with the work that you're doing together. A lot of my clients are coaches, but I have clients that do other stuff too. And it also works as a really great marketing tool so people can get to know you and like get a feel for your vibe in the work you do. And then, maybe they want to come play in the bigger pool and they want to come work with you in group or work with you in one on one. Obviously, everybody works differently. So I love being able to create these products and sometimes, I mentioned that I'm an artist. I'm both an artist and graphic designer. Sometimes the worlds collide, sometimes they do not. It totally depends on the project, the ask. My goal is always to get the vision into physical form of what is best going to serve my client's business. So we work together to figure that out. And if you're not sure, I love brainstorming with people. If you're like, this sounds really cool, but I'm not totally sure what I would create, like, let's chat. I love doing that. That's actually a lot of fun.
That is the best part too, is because like because you have both sides of it, you have the artistic side where you can do amazing, amazing artwork, which I know you've illustrated even books at
Yeah.
this point where like you've done illustrations in major books, which phenomenal. But now you're able to take that and kind of merge it in with graphic design. And that's not an easy feat. I can tell you, I offered graphic design for a long time. And I mean, I worked in old school stuff like Corel Draw. And I can tell you that shit's hard. But then to do that plus the artistic side, I mean, that is phenomenal work. So like when you have somebody come to you and they're like, hey, like you said, like I'm not too sure what to create. I'm not sure like, how to create this. Like what would be something that you can tell them that they should take into consideration before even having that conversation with you?
Yeah. So first is just thinking about the practical. Just this is a purely practical. This is the not fun part of it, but it's super important. The first thing is like what is going to benefit your clients the most. So sometimes people think they want a card deck, but then they realize a journal is actually a workbook is the better fit for their clients. Some are like, no, I want both, right? So my question to you would be what is actually going to serve your clients the best and take a look at like how you're already working with them, right? So there's
Mm.
some people that are already implementing card decks with their clients, but they're just not their own deck. There's other people that they're already giving their clients journaling prompts or other things to think about, but they don't have their actual own product, right? So that's a good hint of like, which one should I choose first? Some people choose both. And then the next thing that I always tell people when they're like, I love this idea, but I'm not 100% sure how I can do this and what fits into my business. And when I ask people this question, it starts to get the gears turning. And before I share the question, I'm going to just say, whatever works for you best is what I recommend you do. So if that's taking notes in your phone, do that. If you're like me and you're like an old school hand person, have a notebook. If you're more like, I'm going to put it in a Google document, like do that, whatever works. And the question is, what are the things that are always happening in your business? Like, what are the questions clients are always coming to you with? And what are you always answering? What are the things that you're constantly saying, like on repeat, right? Like, most people will notice that all of a sudden there's like a pattern coming up of what information you're like, oh, I feel like I just had this conversation. And yes, you did. And then the other thing is, if you've been in business for a while and you're writing social media posts, which I imagine everybody's doing, right? You're doing something, newsletter, social media posts. If you're on podcasts or if you have your own podcast, I promise you, you have a ton of content that can be pulled into these products that like you've already written and done. You may just not realize it. It's starting to take notice of what already exists. What am I constantly saying? That's where I tell people to start.
Oh, I love that. And it really makes so much sense to think about those things because if you tell your clients to do everything digitally, then you having like an actual like physical journal doesn't make much sense. You
Mhm.
know, if you are the type of person that like you love tarot, but you don't incorporate it into your business, it wouldn't make sense. But if you like the idea of affirmation cards inside of your business, that makes sense. So there's like so many different aspects there that you can really take a big chance to look at, even if they want to create like a book that's going to be little excerpts, things that they can have as like a coffee table type of a book and have you do the artwork on something like that. Like there's so many different possibilities here that, you know, you can look at and gather together. Like there's like, it seems like the sky's the limit. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the potential is there. So let's pause on this for a second because this is really good. Because I find that like people get kind of a little tunneled visioned because in our brains, we have this idea of this is what a card deck is. But a card deck can be all of these different things. You mentioned affirmations. They could be reminders. They can be questions. They can be just your wisdom, right? There's so many possibilities. I gave this example to someone one day just because I think it really like expands outside of like and gets the gears turning. Because most people think coaches are more the fit and the thing that mostly will create these products, but other businesses can do them too. So, for example, a real estate agency. So if you have people moving into town, wouldn't it be cool to create a deck that's got like here's all the hot spots, here's all of here's cards like color coded or whatever, right? That are these are the things that need to get done yearly in your house that people like may not forget because either they're first time home buyers or you've had a house for a while, but like who keeps track of these things? So there's I share that because there's lots of different opportunities beyond like, oh, but it's an affirmation deck. Like I don't do that. It's thinking about, like, how can you take what you do and put it into somebody's hands so it's right there at their side. And a journal or workbook too, same thing. Like, it doesn't have to just be all about the prompts, right? Like, it could actually be way beyond that, and we set it up depending on, like, what works for you. Like, I've done ones for clients where there's prompts sprinkled throughout. I've done one where there's prompts right up front. I've done ones that are more like what I would refer to workbooks versus journals, where you're kind of going through a system or you're kind of maybe repeating something for a practice. So there's so much potential and possibilities. It's really just kind of starting to think outside of the box because I kind of think almost anything can be like turned into one of these products for the most part.
Well, that's phenomenal. Because I mean, I never would have thought of real estate like in a million years, but that's super smart. Like, oh, here are some of the hot spots. Like, you don't know what to do with kids. You don't know what to do on date nights. You don't know what to do here. And now you're supporting local businesses and that type of thing too. That's really would have never thought about that.
Exactly. You know,
Love
yes, I do artwork for clients, but a majority of the projects that I do, I function strictly as a graphic designer. So some people's card decks
Mhm.
or journals are a lot more about the words, right? And
Yeah.
I'm just finding visuals that are going to support that and like tie into their brand, right? So it doesn't have to be like this big elaborate thing. I have a client who takes her own photography, who does her own photography. So her deck and journal were actually created with her own photos, and I took everything and like made it happen. So
Mhm.
anything is possible. It's just
That's
thinking
awesome.
about it and deciding what is the best fit for your business and your life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm like I think as like so far outside of the box when you're saying that, like I'm thinking, a yoga instructor being able to do yoga cards where it's like all the different poses and you can lay out the poses, so you know exactly what you're doing for the day and
Yep.
things like that. Like there's just so many different possibilities there that I mean, really the sky really is the limit. There's no limitations on your the amazement that you bring. Because I have to say, when I saw your artwork, I was immediately drawn in. But then when I saw like the zone of genius that you come at it with, it is next level. It is
Yeah.
absolutely next level. Can you tell us about one of the projects that you've done for a client before in the past that you had the absolute most fun with?
Oh my gosh, they're all really fun. I mean,
Yeah.
what the most fun thing for me to do with clients is people don't really totally get this until like they're actually like in my world. We really work together as a co-creation and collaboration, right? Like people think they're just going to toss me over words. And that does happen, but in the beginning, like I'm not talking about one specific project because this is actually the most fun part for me and it happens across all of the projects. We will brainstorm together and like bounce ideas back and forth, right? And then I may ask you some questions. I look at people's brands and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm proposing. Like, is the possibility for like your card deck or your journal? Like, this is what I'm seeing. What do you think? Right. So, my clients are involved in the creative process, even though they think like they're not creative or whatever, right? They are totally part of that process. And like, I love the fact that I get to witness them being like, wait a minute, like, I'm really like in this. Now, obviously, like, I go off and I go do the work or whatever, but your initial like ideas and intentions are what I'm using. And for me, like, that's the most fun part is like really collaborating and co-creating so then I can bring that vision of yours actually into reality in tangible form and beautiful too.
Yes, because your work is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know how many times I could possibly say that to people, but if you haven't seen Jen's artwork yet, then you need to follow her and you need to go check out her artwork because it's really just absolutely phenomenal. You will love it, I promise you. So, I really want to talk a little bit about the aspects of a journal because, we have a lot of clients that come to us, especially because, we work with coaches and consultants. We have a lot of people that come to us that are specifically looking to create a journal, but they are kind of like, I have some things that I think I want to put in a journal, but does a journal have to be like it doesn't have to have all of these other aspects to it? Can it be what I want it to be? So let me ask you, as far as like when people come to you for a journal, do you feel like a journal should be what you make it, or do you think a journal should have some type of certain pieces that should be required in a structure?
So this is such a great question. So I believe that the end product should be whatever fits the person's business. However, I always add in some structure things that people don't realize about, and I help them fill in the blanks on that. Like we always put a this belongs to because that's fun. I always tell people I'm like, okay, we have to actually tell people how to use this product, which they also forget about. And each person's going to be different, right? With like how they're using the journal. Like if it's not a workbook that you're going through to get like an end result and it's more journal prompts, it might be like you can start anywhere, flip through this, that, whatever. If it's more structured, we need to tell people that it's structured. I also think it's really important upfront to be like, why did you create this product? Like tell people like why you want them to have it and what you want them to get out of it. And then we have the rest of the journal, which again, if you were to go on my website and looked under the services for creating products, you will see none of the journals are the same. Like there's a huge variety of the ones that are just on my website and they're not even all up on there. And then of course I always tell people like let's give people an about you and like how to contact you and all of that stuff because somebody may not actually be like a current client or they may want to buy one and gift one and all of these things. So there's some structure that I believe is important to put in there. And then the rest of it is really what makes the most sense for your life and your business.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because, when you're talking about, putting these pieces together, yes, there are certain things that you don't think about, like the belong to. It actually is something important. Like,
Mhm.
so I'm building out, like I built out ours and obviously I'm going through Jen to take care of the printing and the artwork and everything else because she is, like I said, just absolute phenomenal. And when I was going through ours, I was like, we have like a statement at the beginning of ours and it's actually a statement that you have to sign to say I'm taking ownership of my business. I'm taking ownership of this work. And so you have your signature page, like, right, it's like your contract of you using this book saying you have to be willing to do this. So like the ownership is such an important piece that like not a lot of people think about that. Then the fact that yours always like, yep, this is what you got to do. You got to have this in there. That's, it's those small things that make a big difference for the client because like, we ask for something very specific. We're just like, you want to work with us? That's great. We're going to send you our contract, but we're going to lock it for 24 hours. We're not going to let you access it because we want you to think about it. We want you to review everything. We want you to feel 100% with it because we're not just asking you to make a commitment to us. Like, we're not just making a commitment to you. We need you to make a commitment to us, your time, your energy. You need to be willing to make that commitment to us. So we want to make sure you're 100% in if we're going to be 100% in. We can't want it more than you do. And so like when you have something like that inside of your journal, you're giving people a space to say like, I own this. This is mine. This is my space. And for a lot of people over the years that I've talked to that have had journals or diaries or whatever, there's a lot of people that have a lot of trauma around those things because they've had people read their journals or read their diaries and hold those things against them and things like that. But like you giving them a space of something as simple as ownership, just this is mine. This
Mhm.
is my space. This is something that I can write freely and I can have my thoughts here. For a lot of people, subconsciously, it is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
So I love that you take that extra piece into consideration because that little mindset shift can go a really long way. It really can.
And, one of the things that I actually tell clients to put in the journal, which it's their choice if they choose to or not, but in the instructions, this comes 100% from me of like journaling. And like I used to have this thing that if the pages were blank, I had to fully fill them out, which is so silly, but that's 100% how I thought. And it's completely not true. So I always tell clients, like, let's put in an instruction that says, like, when you feel complete, like, you're complete. Like, don't stress out about like filling out, if you're complete in half a page, wonderful. Like
Yeah,
if you keep going, that's great too. Like there's not a right or wrong to that. And like so some of my own personal experiences as a journaler and as somebody who uses card decks, I do bring into my client experiences too, just to make sure we have those pieces as well.
I love that. I love that. And I think that that's important too, just to give people that space to know, like, you decide this is how you want it to be, not how we're going to tell you you have to do it, but just make it yours. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
exactly.
I love it. I love it. So you, my dear, have an amazing free gift, and I would love for you to tell everybody a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so my free gift is it's twofold and you could use it however you want. So there is a creative exploration in there of like a little art activity, which is great if you want to get into the creative flow and like tap in. And no, you don't have to be an artist. I promise. It's literally like you can scribble on paper. But if you're like, oh, I really don't want to do that. The second part of the gift is I share different ways about if you get stuck creatively. And remember, first of all, we're all creative. If you have a business, you're creative. You just may not be a visual artist or a musician, right? You're creating offers, all of the things. And sometimes when we're writing things or doing offers or such, we might get a little stuck. So I give you a list of ideas for how to get out of that creative stuckness so you could go do something else for a little bit and then come back with fresh eyes.
Oh, I love that so much. Okay, so if you guys want access to Jen's free gift, drop the word create in the comments below. And Jen and her team will reach out to get you access to that because I'm telling you that, I mean, I'm getting it myself because I think that sounds like a phenomenal gift. So don't forget the word is create. Drop that in the comments below, and Jen and her team will reach out to you to make sure to get access to that free gift for you. Jen, thank you. As always, you are absolutely total sunshine, and I am grateful to have you in our network.
Thank you. It was so much fun being here with you today.
It's always fun talking to you. All right, everybody. So we'll see you next time. Bye for now.